It's a story we are continuing to monitor over here on HQ. Former Michigan head coach Sherrone Moore was detained by police on Wednesday, according to court records. This coming after Moore was fired for cause by Michigan earlier in the day. The Pittsfield, Michigan PD releasing a statement that did not mention Moore by name, but said that he is a suspect and he's in custody as part of an investigation into alleged assault. Moore was taken into custody after being fired for what the school called, quote, inappropriate relationship with a staff member. We have so many people covering this story, trying to figure out the latest. That includes our fine folks over at CBS Mornings who have this new reporting.
And here at home, a shock in the world of college football. The University of Michigan head coach, Sherrone Moore, has been fired for having what the school calls an inappropriate relationship with the staffer. A few hours later, police took Moore into custody after reports of an alleged assault investigation. Jerika Duncan has more.
That was the last time Sherrone Moore entered the big house, leading a pack of Wolverines as the University of Michigan's head coach. This morning, he is behind bars and out of that job. On Wednesday, the school's athletic director says they terminated the 39-year-old with cause after he, quote, engaged in an inappropriate relationship with a staff member. Hours later, police told CBS Detroit the coach was detained earlier in the day near Michigan Stadium. He was then arrested and booked into jail. According to ESPN, he's a suspect in an alleged assault. However, no charges have been filed yet. The investigation into Moore began last month, according to CBS Sports.
One of the ongoing looming questions that will hang over Michigan is, when did athletic director Ward Manuel know, and why did he not make earlier decisive action?
The sudden ending of Moore's career comes after he spent 2 years as head coach, taking over for Jim Harbaugh. The Wolverines won the 2023 national championship, but this year, Moore faced a 2-game suspension for his role in the school's sprawling sign-stealing scandal that has loomed over college football's winningest program for nearly 2 years.
It's been an unbelievable period of success with that national championship, but also an unbelievable period of scandal and drama with Michigan football. And Michigan as a program typically is above that. It's a Michigan man. It has a certain connotation. And I think that has been really damaged by the behavior of Sherrone Moore.
Yeah, Sherrone Moore was under a 5-year contract with a salary of $5.5 million. But according to the terms of his deal, the school will not have to buy him out as he was fired for cause. And of course, we have reached out to Moore and have not heard back.
We now continue the conversation and bring in Sam Webb, who covers Michigan for 24/7 Sports. And Sam, I know you were fully entrenched with that Michigan program. My first question to you is, since we've had a day now to process everything that went down on Wednesday, what's the feeling in Ann Arbor like this morning?
I think it was a combination of disappointment, shock, and anger. I think you're running the gamut of emotions. Frankly, Zach, disappointment in a coach that a lot of people believed in. The admin, the players, especially, and just really disappointed for his family. Of course, I think the anger over the being taken down this path in the first place over something that was so imminently avoidable, feeling like the distrust that was sown as well, that this is actually something that was looked into when these rumors first emerged before they actually resurfaced during the last week. These rumors go back to earlier in the year when they were looked into by Michigan initially. Not only were they denied, they looked into and found nothing that they could find to substantiate them at the time until we've come to find out someone came forward, or according to John U. Bacon, staffer came forward and presented evidence that the relationship had actually taken place. So anger, frustration, disappointment, all of those things. The players, though, are the ones catching the brunt of it, Zach. Thus far, all of them talking about staying, but you would understand if they start to listen to to overtures from other schools as days and weeks go on.
Yeah, the timing of this certainly is so interesting given the coaching carousel that is almost completed now at this point around the world of college football. And now you look at Michigan needing to find a new head coach. Of course, they have Biff Poggi right there to be the interim guy. But where do the Wolverines go from here? Because all these schools have found their guy that might have been who Michigan would have wanted to target if they knew they were going to be in this situation. So what does this coaching search, what will it look like?
Yeah, that's a great question, Zach, and that's the precarious nature of the timing. That's another source of the anger, frankly. But if you're Michigan, you aren't limited by guys being in jobs. You start with Kalen DeBoer. Listen, that was a guy when he was at Washington. There were strong inklings behind the scenes that there was interest in Michigan. Had the timing worked out back then with Jim Harbaugh going to the pros and the job being open, where I could have seen him coming to Michigan instead of Alabama. It didn't work out that way, of course. And now here he is at Alabama. You rewind the tape 3 months, Zach, and they were ready to run him out of Tuscaloosa. I wonder what the sentiment would be right now if they hadn't been selected for the college football playoff. It's against that backdrop where if you're Michigan, you combine the prior interest with the fact that it seems like his tenure is tenuous at best at times. And you say, hey, would he listen? You got a former Michigan player on his staff. I mean, you can back channel that and really glean how sincere an interest he would have. And so you got to kick that tire. Joe Brady, OC with Buffalo is another name that you hear the fans really be excited about. About his time at LSU, but then since he's been in the pros, he has really become a hot name for his time with Buffalo and the work he's done with Josh Allen. And Josh Allen has been playing his best football, and that offense has become more balanced in the time since Joe Brady has been there. I think that's very appealing idea to Michigan's folks. You come back to the college scene, Jedd Fisch is a guy that would have sincere interest in Michigan, coached at Michigan previously, is a guy that is familiar with the culture, knows the inner workings of the university, clearly has ties, would have some advocates, an offensive mind. I think he checks some boxes. And another name to really throw in there that I think would be intriguing. And I think, if you're Michigan, you kick that tire. Jeff Brohm at Louisville. That's another one out there. Big Ten, formerly a Big Ten guy at Purdue, built that program up. No, he's been a Louisville lifer, but that's another guy that has some Michigan ties in this program, familiar with the landscape in this region. I just think that's a tire worth kicking, and I don't think the phone will be hung up on you.
I want to circle the wagons back on Kalen DeBoer, the first name you brought up, because sure, you can kick the tires on it and everything, but do you truly think, do Michigan fans honestly believe that could be a true possibility to be able to poach the head coach from Alabama and bring him to Michigan?
Yes, I think they think. Well, put it this way. Let me not speak for anyone else. I'm going to speak for me. I think if you're a Michigan fan, your emotions are influenced by what just happened. Your emotions are also influenced by him turning down Penn State. Michigan is not Penn State. And if you take away the trauma of the event and realize how sincerely interested he was in Michigan before, and understand how much the smoke around him was really billowing when it comes to trying to move him out of Tuscaloosa, you realize there's an opportunity there. And just, again, Zach, I'm just going to tell you, you talk to enough people, and I'm not speaking for him in any way, shape, or form to say that he would lobby for this job, that he is professing interest in this job. I'm not saying any of those things. I'm merely saying that there was interest in the past. He's familiar with this culture to the point where the call from Michigan, I do not believe would be received the same way the call from Penn State was received. Even with him being at Alabama, given what the reception has been to him down there. It'd be different if it was all sunshine and rainbows for him down there, but it hasn't been, and that's just a fact.
It will be an interesting situation to continue to monitor as we figure out what Michigan wants to do with their head coach opening. But the players that you alluded to when we first came up here about them trying to figure out and having to deal with all the aftermath of what's going on. In specific, you look at QB, so you look at Bryce Underwood. What happens with him coming off of that freshman year? We know how highly desired he was and all the NIL money he got to end up signing with the Wolverines. Where does he factor into all this for you right now?
So, Bryce has the luxury of his timeline can be unique in that whenever he wants to move, he can really have the world is his oyster. He'll be able to move on really his own timeline, and the options will be open. So my sense is, just from talking to people thus far, is there's not a rush to do anything right now. Now, that doesn't mean that he's locked into Michigan regardless. I think he, like all the other players, are going to look to see what happens, look to see what their plan is for a replacement, and see if that fits with what he envisions as a pathway to his success. And this is where communication is going to be very, very key, because the timeline isn't conducive to those guys, to the majority of the roster, moving before the new year. So, you want to be talking to a Bryce, especially if you're the AD of Michigan, and kind of letting them know this is what we're doing, this is who we're talking to, or the caliber of guy we're talking to, and kind of keeping them abreast of the situation as you go. I think that's enough appeasement for the time to keep them from making moves in the interim, or making moves as soon as moves are able to be made. That's what you're doing. You're buying time to make the move until you have a guy in place so they can make a more informed decision. I think they, for the time being, are going to be given that grace with Bryce Underwood and the majority of the players on the roster, though I can't say I think that's going to be the case for every guy on the roster.
Speaking of time, you look at the calendar, New Year's Eve, Michigan plays a bowl game up against Texas in the Citrus Bowl. Do you think that the Wolverines honor that commitment and play in the game?
Yeah, it's tough. That's interesting. Right now, they're set up to do so. They named Biff Poggi the interim coach. Biff coached them through a couple of games already this season. The staff is still intact, although I think that they are going to be, they have to be receptive to calls from other institutions at this point, because even if Michigan would like to keep them, there's nothing to give them certainty that the next coach will want to keep them. So that means that if there's another opportunity that arises in the interim, they have to listen. And what if that school that wants them to come says they want them to come right now? They're now in the position where they have to really consider that. So might that affect Michigan's thinking as to whether or not they'll play in this game? That's something that I think has to be discussed by the powers that be. I don't know that it has been yet.
Yeah, a whole lot of situations need to be figured out before you can move forward and figure all of this out. Sam Webb, thank you so much. We appreciate your time talking all things happening with Michigan right now, and of course coming off the heels of Sherrone Moore and him being fired. You take a look at the timeline of how things have all played out for Michigan, and it's been a crazy tumultuous time going back to 2023 with the Connor Stallions stealing investigation, which then went to affect the way things went in 2024 and 2025. But of course, you win the national title in January 2024. Then Jeff Brohm goes to the NFL. He gets the 4-year show cause. Sherrone Moore with his suspension, 2 years, 2 games because of that sign stealing, and now just yesterday fired for that inappropriate relationship. And even more college football news, analysis, all those things can be found over on the CBS Sports College Football YouTube page. Like and subscribe to get conversations like what we just had right here and coverage around the entire landscape of college football.